Hello everyone, welcome to the 32nd lecture about tenses. In the previous lecture, 31st lecture, we initiated this topic tenses and learnt about the 4 different tenses referring to the present or the present tenses, that is the simple present, present continuous or progressive, the present perfect, and the combination of the two, that is present perfect continuous. We learned quite a lot of new things in the previous lecture regarding the usage of these 4 tenses. In today's lecture, we are going to focus and learn about the next tense, the next basic tense, and the other 3 tenses based on the past form, past time. That is the simple past, past continuous or progressive, past perfect, and finally the combination of the two, past perfect continuous. We'll be learning and understanding and recalling the older knowledge, the older things, and adding something new to it. So let's begin without any further delays. Let's understand the simple past. What is it used for? In the first place, the simple past is used to express an action that has taken place in the past or in the earlier time. Let me put this on the board. The simple past is used to express that something was done or took place, or it happened. In the past time, or time in the past, at a particular time in the past. Well, this is the basic idea what we use a simple past tense for. Let's take a few examples based on this. I met him yesterday. That is what we say or what we use in order to show a simple past. I met him yesterday. 2 important things that you need to look into this. The word met, which is the past form of the verb meet. Therefore, it expresses an idea that the meeting of the person has been done when, and the time factor shown over here. It is not saying today. It is not saying you are going to happen. It's going to happen. You're saying, yes, I met. But when? Yesterday. So a simple sentence to express the simple past tense and its usage. To express that something was done or took place at a particular time but in the past. So one example of this. Another example to express that something happened in the past. He failed last year. So again you are expressing the idea in this sentence that someone has failed, a failure has occurred or happened, but when? Last year. So the word used over here is not fail, fails, failing, it is failed, F-A-I-L-E-D, which is the second form of the verb, that is the past form of the verb. Remember, you will get to see the same word as past participle too, but mind well, do not consider this to be a past participle. It depends where you are using or for what you are using in a sentence. So he failed last year, where the word last year shows the timing or the time when the failure took place. So two examples expressing nothing but something was done or took place in the past. Well, the simple past is also used to express one more idea, that is a habitual action. Just as you learned in the previous lecture, the simple present was used to express a habitual action. In the same manner, the simple past is used to express a habitual action. Let's see how with an example. To express a habitual action, we used a simple past tense to. Which took place in the past, not in the present. Let's see an example based on this. I say, I played tennis. You may say, sir, this is just a simple tense, just like the previous one, to express something that happened in the past time. The previous one, what we learned, to express something that was done in a particular time. No, we don't mean to say by writing the words I played tennis. No doubt they are projecting or being displayed as I played tennis. But you use these words to express a habitual action that at one given point of time, or it was your habit to play tennis, but now you don't play. So we use the words I played tennis. It means I used to play tennis. It was my habit, but when you are adding some more words to it. Otherwise, this would become a simple sentence like the previous one. So see, let me finish with this. I played tennis when I was in college. Maybe now you're grown up too much, so you can't play tennis, or you want to play tennis, you've lost the habit of playing tennis. So the whole sentence refers to an action that was done as a matter of habit, but in the past time. I played tennis when I was in college. So when you were in college, you were in the habit of playing tennis regularly. But at the moment, you are not playing, or very rarely you are playing. So we use a simple past in order to express something that as a matter of habit was doing. The same simple past is used to express one last thing, that is to express an action actually going on at the time it started. The time when it started, that time we were saying it. Let's see how to express this in an example. To express an action actually going on at the time it started. At the time it started. So when it started, we are talking about that particular time, and we are using a simple past tense. As in this example, which I will write for you. While they bathed, have a look at the word they bathed, B-A-T-H-E-D, a simple past, comma, we fished. Well, you were out on a picnic or somewhere, in a pond or somewhere where you are able to catch fishes. So while they bathed, we fished. See the two words, bathed and fished. They are in the simple past. But what are you expressing over here? You are expressing an action actually going on at the time it started. Well, it is not in continuation now. So we cannot say it is a past continuous tense. You mean to say something that was happening at that time, that is when it started. While they bathed, we fished. So one simple example, very rarely you use these examples like this. but it is a way to express an action actually going on at the time it started. Well, this was the first type of tense in the simple past or in the past. Let's continue with the next one. That is the past continuous. Past continuous expresses an idea or tells us that an action was going on in the past time. It started in the past and it was going on at the past time. Clear? We don't mean to say it is going on. It was going on in the past time. So let's see the past continuous tense with necessary examples. The past continuous tense. Is used or indicates that the action was going on, tells that an action was going on, it was in continuation, in the past time. In the past time. Let's take an example based on this. When I called her, so you are calling up someone, making a call. When I called her, she was singing. So what do you mean to say? Well, you called someone, someone picked up the phone, and you asked for someone, may I speak to? And you got the answer that X person, Y person or Z person was singing at that time. She was busy singing, or you came to know that the singing was going on. So you say, when I called upon her, when I called her, she was singing. Clear? So this is how we use a sentence, or this is how we write a sentence to show the past continuous tense. Moving along with this, we have the next type of tense based on the past time, that is the past perfect. Just like we learnt about the present perfect, an action that had just completed, we refer to as the present perfect. Similarly, when I talk about the past perfect, what do I mean to say? It is used to denote an action which had completed, and not has completed, which had completed at some point of time in the past, okay, before another action commenced. When one action was over, the other action started. Let's see this with some examples. The past perfect is used to denote an action which had been completed. So it got over. Which had been completed at some point of time in the past, some point of time in the past time, the time that has gone by, and that action got completed at that time, before another action commenced or began. Keep this important thing in mind. Before another action commenced. Clear? Before another action commenced. For this, we will be calling it by two names. We can say the first action and the second action. Clear? So let's see a few examples based on what we have just written and understood. The past perfect is used to denote an action which had been completed at some point of time in the past time before another action commenced. An example for this, if I write the first action and second action separately to explain my point. Let's take the first action. What might have happened, or what you call as a completed action, first action, or we say as completed action compared to the second action that happened after the completion of the first one. Second action took place after the first action got over, or we call as subsequent action, the following action. Second action took place. Let's see an example for both of these. When I say the train had left, the train had left, it means the going of the train was already completed in some point of time in the past, at some given point of time in the past. So I say the train had left, but when? Before they reached the station, somebody was supposed to reach the station, but they were not able to reach over there. Therefore, I write it, the train had left before they reached the station. So you see what happened over here? We have two different actions. Clear? A completed action, that is the leaving of the train, it has already completed, and a subsequent action followed before they reach the station. So keep these two things in mind. This is how we use the past perfect tense. You can very well see had left. Had is the auxiliary verb. Remember, for the present perfect we used one of the two auxiliary verbs, has or have. I explained in the previous lecture. But for a past perfect, we have only one choice to make, and that is nothing else but the word had. We always use the word had for the past perfect, no matter the subject is singular or plural, masculine or feminine. The train had left before they reached the station. So we have a complete action, we have a second action, that is the subsequent action, the following action. Let's see the next one. The ship had sunk, that is the drowning of the ship. The action was already completed. The ship had already immersed into the water, drowned inside. The ship had sunk before help could reach. Before help could reach. Before somebody could go and save the ship or the people, the ship had already sunk. The ship had sunk before help could reach. So we have a complete action, that is the drowning of the ship, followed by a subsequent action, help reaching to them, that is before the help could reach. So you see, observing these two sentences carefully, how do we write them with the help of the past perfect tense where had is used accordingly. Another example, and make a marking, we are using the word before over here. Keep this in mind. We are using the subordinating conjunction. You must have learned about subordinating conjunctions, coordinating and subordinating conjunctions. So just try to recall the prior knowledge. One more example. I had finished my work. I had finished my work, and now you are trying to express what? When somebody came to see you. When Ali came to see me. You are using the word when as a subordinating conjunction to join the two sentences, that completed action as well as the subsequent action that happened later. So this is the completed part and the subsequent part. I had finished my work when Ali came to see me. So be very careful while using a past perfect tense. One more example. The patient had died the patient had died. You see, the action is already over. The patient is already dead. The patient had died when or what time? Before the doctor came or arrived. Means the doctor came later, but before that, the patient had already died. So when I want to express, the past perfect is used to denote an action which had been completed at some point of time in the past before another action had started. So I hope with these examples we have learned and understood this type of tense perfectly. Let's proceed with the fourth tense about the past time. That is the past perfect continuous, which is the combination of the two. It's a mixture of two things. We mix these two. So be very careful when you mix them. You will require the auxiliary verb from the perfect, and as I said, continuous can never be formed without the ing form of the verb. Keep this in mind. Well, to continue, let me write the understanding of the present, the past perfect continuous. Yes, the past perfect continuous. So the past perfect continuous tells us or expresses or shows that the action had begun prior to the past time, before the past time being referred to, even before that it started. Shows that the action had begun. Have a look at the word begun. It is the past participle of begin, begin, began, begun. Prior to the past time. Prior to the past time. Being referred to, what you are referring to. So this is the understanding about the past perfect continuous, which shows that action began prior to the past time and then what we are referring it to. A few examples based on this. Let's see, in order to justify the understanding of the past perfect continuous. We had We had. Now see, because it is a perfect tense and a continuous, we need both of them. We need the auxiliary verb, which will be provided by the word had, and we need a continuous. So whatever verb would be used over here would be in the ing form. Well, that is why I need to write over here, just as we wrote in the present perfect continuous, the combination of the two. We had waiting for you. We had waiting for you for 2 hours. We had waiting for you for 2 hours when you came. Now you see over here the whole sentence. When you came. Now properly you will be able to see. We had waiting makes no sense, isn't it? Just like we learned in the present perfect continuous, we require a word which will join the two. Hence, we will be applying the word been, just like we wrote in the present perfect continuous. So, had is the necessary perfect part and ing form is the necessary continuous part. So, we had been waiting for you for 2 hours when you came. So, already the action had been started, that the action had begun prior to the past time. Clear? And whole example satisfies or justifies the understanding of the past perfect continuous, which is a combination of the two. So, in this manner, we learned about the past perfect continuous tense. One more example. I had been working for an hour. I had been working for an hour when the computer crashed. So what am I using over here? What am I saying? When the computer crashed. So we can understand in this sentence that I had been working for an hour. My work started prior to the action of computer being crashed. Computer getting crashed. So I was working at that time. 1 hour had already passed by. I had been working. My work was going on. I was working on the computer for an hour when the computer came to an end, came to a crash. The system collapsed. So you see, these two sentences, the meaning is justified. The past perfect continuous shows what? A type of an action that had begun prior to the past time being referred to. So in both these sentences, you will find this kind of an action being displayed. Now let's see the next four tenses based on the future time. The simple future, the future continuous or progressive, the future perfect, and the combination of the two, the future perfect continuous. One by one we will look into its understanding with necessary examples. So let's start the future tense. The simple future denotes an action that will take place in the future. So, in the future time, something that has not happened, but it is likely to happen or it will happen. That is what you mean to say. That will take place in the future. Let's take examples for this one. I simply say, or I write, to express a future action, the simple future, use the verb in the base form, and I write, I shall or I will see you tomorrow. So the time mentioned over here is tomorrow. That is the coming time. Tomorrow. I shall see you tomorrow. The word shall, the auxiliary verb, and the verb, the main verb in its base form, or the original word, what we call the original verb, the word it originated from. I shall see you tomorrow, where applying will or shall will be followed by its base form of the verb. There will be no use of the other agreement of the singular or plural. It will always be in its original form. We will never write seize, I shall seize you tomorrow, I shall seeing you tomorrow, or I shall saw you tomorrow. No, we will only be writing I shall see you tomorrow, and see will remain in its base form. Similarly, one more example. We will go on holiday soon. So you see in this sentence too, the word go, which is in its base form. Just before that, preceding what we have the word, the auxiliary verb will. We will go on holiday soon. So you can see whenever we use the future tense, the simple future, we make use of the base form of the verb. We are not using any other form like going, or not even the plural, the singular form that goes. We are always using the base form. So you see, these are two examples of simple future tense. Let's get along with the next one. That is the future continuous. Just like the present continuous shows an action going on at the time of speaking, in the past continuous we learned that an action was going on in the past time. Similarly, in the future continuous, we will be denoting or expressing the idea that it will be going on at that given point of time in the future. We are talking about that. So let's understand about what a future continuous denotes. The future continuous denotes an action that will take place, or that will be going on at some point of time, not now, not in the past, but in the future. An action going on at some point of time in the future. That is the time yet to come. Simple examples for this we have. We can say, she will be singing. So we are saying she will be singing, but when? We need to know the time. She will be singing at the party. So when the party will commence, when the party will take place, she will be a person who would be singing there. So I am saying in this sentence, she will be singing at the party, indicating or showing an action that is going to happen in the future time, the time that is yet to come. And concentrate on the words will be singing. We require to use a word BEB, the member of the be family, and auxiliary verb, will be singing. And have a look over here, the word continuous. Therefore, compulsorily you have the ing form of the verb. As I kept on saying that without an ing form, a continuous cannot be formed. So continuous, whenever you hear of, it must strike in your mind ing form of the verb, or what you call the present participle form of the verb too. She will be singing at the party. This was the future continuous form of the verb or the tense. Next, the future perfect. Let's see what a future perfect indicates or denotes or tells us about the time. The future perfect quite naturally, it is perfect tense. It means an action that is completed, denotes that an action is completed. An action that will be completed in the future, in some future time or future point of time. At some time, at some point of time, in the future. So in the future this is going to happen. The future perfect indicates the completion of an action, not now, not in the past, but the time yet to come. Let's see a few examples to understand future perfect definition better and see what is used inside it. I shall have finished. I shall have finished my work before you come. So you see, I shall have finished. So we are using the future word to indicate, or we are using a verb of the future tense, that is shall. So I shall have finished my work before you arrive, before you come. Have a careful look at the verbs used over here. The auxiliary verb shall, the auxiliary verb have, and then followed by the word finished. Do not consider this to be the word or the verb in the simple past. It is a perfect tense, therefore always a perfect tense uses the papa form or the past participle form, the third form of the verb. Therefore finished is in the past participle form. I shall have finished what? My work when? Before you come. So in this manner we use the future perfect to denote an action where an action will be completed sometime in the future. Few more examples. We shall have finished this exercise by 10 o'clock. So you're trying to show in this sentence that the completion of the exercise will happen not now. It has not happened in the past, but it will happen in the coming time. So I shall have, or we shall have finished this exercise by 10 o'clock. To indicate a perfect action in the future time. Let's take one or two more examples before we head over to the future perfect continuous, the fourth one, and perhaps the last one in the series of tenses. One last example. We shall have reached the station. We shall have reached the station before the train arrives or comes. So we shall have reached the station. Have a look at the words shall have reached. Shall is an auxiliary verb to indicate future, the coming time. Have reached, respectively, we are using the auxiliary verb in the has or have. And make one thing very sure, when we use the future perfect, we don't use has, we only use have over here. We shall have reached. We don't say we shall has reached. Clear? No matter it's I, we, or a singular person, we always use the auxiliary verb have. We shall have reached the station before the train arrives. So in this manner, we write the future perfect to denote an action that will be completed at some point of time in the future. Let's get along with the next and the last one, that is the future perfect continuous, which is the combination of two, perfect as well as continuous. Just like we understood in the present perfect continuous and the past perfect continuous, it is quite similar to that, but the action will be happening in the future time, not in the present or the past. Let's understand this with the help of examples to justify the meaning of the tense, that is future perfect continuous. The last tense, the future perfect continuous. What does it denote? What does it show? It shows that an action whether finished or unfinished. Sometimes it could be an unfinished action too. Whether finished or unfinished, has been in progress for some time. Has been in progress or continuation for some time. Let's take a few examples to understand this better. As in this example, if I write we shall, so shall is important to show the future indication. We shall have been playing, have a careful look. We shall have been playing, that is the action of playing, will be going on in the given or at some point of time in the future. That time this action will be on for 3 hours. So for how long we would be playing at that time? 3 hours. And when are we going to say this? When you get here, when you arrive. You're telling this to someone. When you get here. So maybe it is someone you know. So when that person is going to come here, is going to reach here, 3 hours would have already been passed at that time. And you're not talking about the current situation, the present one or the past one. You are saying about the future. We shall have been playing at that time in the future. Shall have been playing, you will have been playing. Your action of playing would have been continuing for 3 hours. It means started at 3 hours and going on when you get here. So you see, we are expressing an idea about future perfect continuous to show that an action, whether finished or unfinished, it could be a finished action. The play could have been finished at that time, or it could have been an unfinished action. Let's take one more example to understand this even better. They will have been making preparations. They will have been making preparations. So the preparations will be going on. When? For the wedding for 2 months. For the wedding So you mean to say at that point of time they will have been making preparations. They are not making preparations now, but you're talking about that point of time when you feel or when you mean to say that the preparations for the wedding would be going on and 2 months have been passed by that time before the actual event occurs. So this is what you're trying to express with the help of the future perfect continuous tense, which is the combination of two things. The future perfect continuous tense is not that commonly used in English in order to express or say some idea or express your views. It's quite less used in English grammar in the day-to-day speech. So with this, so altogether 12 tenses we learned where and how to use them. In the upcoming lecture, we'll try to cover up certain common errors that people make in the tenses, and then we will be watching and looking into the exercises based on all these 12 tenses. Till then, have a nice time. Good day. See you soon.